Des from Aro-Tarot here, and today is another spread video, and this one is again one of the ones that I had actually filmed back in December, but it was like really shaky because how I was trying to film it, and I've since like started writing them in my spread journal, so yeah, it'll be a lot neater now. And this one I recently also did for myself, along with one other one I still have to film. And you know, put up and all that jazz. But yeah, this one I also did for myself about the same time as the last spread that I shared. And so the example also is going to deal with me and like writing and stuff like that. But yeah, I made sure that I knew what cards they were when I was doing it for myself, and I remember what came up. So yeah, this spread kind of needs a bit more of an example. So after I say what the positions are and attempt to explain it, this one's a bit harder to explain. That's why the example is kind of a bit more needed for this one. But after I explain the spreads and say what the positions are, I will then, of course, say what I got when I did the spread for myself not too long ago. So this spread, I don't exactly have a really good name for it, and so I kind of just call it the C.E.R. spread. And this spread, just like last one, is inspired by something, and this one, along with the next two spreads that I want to put up, one of them I've already redone for myself recently, like when I did this one and the last one. The other one I still haven't done for myself lately. But this one and hopefully the next two spread videos, since I'm trying to keep it more so in order by how they are in my journal, so I know which ones I put up. They're all inspired by the Phantom of the Opera, specifically like the book, since that's one of my favorite books. So yeah, obviously I'm gonna get some inspiration for that. But yeah, that's why this one is called the C.E.R. spread, because you have a card that is supposed to be Christine, Eric, and Raul, so like, oh, that mustache. So yeah, there's a position for each character, and so I just used the initials C.E.R. for the name. Couldn't think of anything better. I actually made this one after the next two I want to share. So by that time, I did not have any new name ideas. So it's just the C.E.R. spread. But it's just done in a triangle. Obviously, it's going to be in a triangle. So for Christine's card, which is first, it just represents you. For the second card, which is Eric's, I describe it as the tempting darkness. And for this guy over here, Raul, it's the light that calls. And so kind of just hearing the positions, it's not like a clear-cut question. The way that I see it when I made this, and that was the best way that I could describe it, was just getting kind of poetic in a way. The spread kind of makes me think of, if any of you guys have the Mystical Cats Tarot, in the book of it has one of my favorite simple, really small spreads that I use like every single time me and my free company mates do, we do maps, which, is just a simple term. We describe them, we decipher the maps, and we find the locations, and sometimes a portal opens, and we have to choose between, are we going to go through this door or this door after our fight, and then we keep going. And because I have to choose between this or that, I always use that spread. whenever I do my own map, it's like, oh, should I go this way or this way? And the spread, I can't remember the exact name of it off the top of my head, and my book is somewhere down there. But basically what that spread is, it's, you pull out the Two of Wands, and then you draw, that card ends up being for one option, and then another card ends up being for another option. So this one's kind of similar to that, but it's not like a clear-cut, oh, you should definitely do this one, or you should definitely do that one. This is more so looking at the options, and you as yourself in the position. And sometimes you won't exactly even know when you do the spread if there are two options. Like, sometimes maybe the options are hidden. So basically with Eric's, it's the tempting darkness. So it's like kind of more so like that stuff that's a bit more tempting, you know. Sometimes it's not necessarily what you should go with, but just like with anything light and dark, sometimes dark can actually be good and light can actually be bad. You know, like everything's just gray in the world. So, you know, like just because you have a card called the light that calls, it's not necessarily the best thing. And sometimes, like with when I did this for myself, I think both times, I think back when I did in like December for myself, it was also that case, where sometimes it's actually best to just do both and fuse them together in a way. But this allows you to kind of think more so on the two options that you may or may not be aware of. So then, of course, then there's the light that calls, so it's more so about the things that are calling you. So like, or you could almost think of it being more of the light, the things that you're more so like, for that card you can kind of see it both ways. Same with the other one, you could think of it as the things that tempt you, or the things that you might not think about. Or this one you could think about as the things that are calling you. Or you could think about the things that are more so there in your mind. But, yeah. When it came with me, and when I did it, it very much more so about tempting versus calling. So, yeah. Hopefully I explained that kind of right, but I'm going to show what I got for my reading when I had done that last time, to just kind of give an example of. So the deck I used, the Honasa House, I think is how you pronounce it. I can never remember how to pronounce it, but I love the deck. Sorry. Yes, it's this beautiful deck. But yeah, so it's just a 3-card spread. So the card that I drew for myself, I drew the Chariot, which, as soon as this kind of came up, I knew that it was, again, focusing very much more so on me with writing. Because you have a girl here, and she's kind of just looking up at the sky with these clouds all spiraling and stuff. And it very much made me think back to, like, I am very much a daydreamer, and I like to daydream, which is in the way that my idea of me writing the fan fictions came about. I would kind of just daydream, what if this kind of character was put in this setting, or what about these characters were put into this situation? It was very much kind of like that kind of thing of when it kind of came with me in writing fan fictions. And then sometimes I would like the plots I'd come up with, or even characters I'd come up to the point that like I was like, no, this shouldn't be a fan fiction. I should just write this as like a book or something. Which, funny fact, like when it comes to the story, that like these ones I feel like are more so leaning towards in like the story that I really want to write. It actually originally was a fan fiction. And some of the characters, they were more so based on the people than like actually all the people, where there were 2 characters out of the friends that I had made. Like, it was like kind of like a band in a band. And like the one from like the band with like the main girl character, 2 of them were actually my friend, based on my friends. Like, I literally was like, oh, how would you act in this position? And it was kind of like that. It was a very much kind of like fun thing to write, and then I ended up liking kind of like the base plot, and it just kept evolving and evolving. But you jumping around like crazy, I see. But yeah, like that's what it makes me think of with all the daydreaming. So that's me. But also the Chariot, I'm going along my path, you know, and I come across 2 options. So the tempting darkness is the 8 of Wands, and I kind of get, when I drew this, I was kind of getting more of the Marseille meanings from like the one book that I have, because the deck is, you know, she read the book by Jodorowsky. I know how to say it. I sometimes have trouble saying words. I'm not going to be able to say it now. things. Yeah, so, like, I don't have anything by him, but I do have, of course, this, which is by a student of his. It's a Bindal. So, like, I have his book, so it's similar. So, like, with that one, and, like, how the meanings are in that one, I was kind of seeing that, but then I was also kind of seeing the Rider-Waite-Smith as well in this card, since, you know, it's the Eight of Wands. Rider-Waite-Smith is very much movement, where with that, it kind of described it more so as restrictions, kind of. So I was seeing where the tempting is to go fast, kind of get it done, and just go along with what I already have planned out for this story, because I have, like, every single chapter, like, a base kind of thing planned out of what happens. Like, in this chapter, Destiny does this. In this chapter, Sean does that. You know, like, in this chapter, the one friend says that, you know, like, I have a base of what's supposed to happen, like, the big thing for that chapter that happens. Which, because of how I'm making it, I kind of really had to do that, because the story actually doesn't follow a set timeline. Like, it's, a back and forth kind of story with kind of, like, little bits thrown in, so I kind of have to have everything kind of written out to make sure it all stays well. So I could go fast and how it's written, you know, and just do it. But then, I always feel this calling, and I have the Fool here. And I very much, with this deck, whenever I see the Fool, I immediately go with how the eyes are, right? And so it's like, yeah, I could have it exactly how it is, you know, and just get it done. But at the same time, part of me is like, oh, but it's gotta be good. And, like, I am very much always have to write stories from beginning to end. I can't be like, oh, I very much have an image of this scene in my head. Let me write it out and maybe write out that chapter for later. I have to write from the beginning to the end, because I'm very much that kind of writer that will just start adding little things in there and be like, and then sometimes I'll write, like, what ended up becoming a big plot point of the third chapter, and if you read it from front to back order, the third chapter, all of a sudden it's like, and then this happens, and I'm like, where did that, but then, and I'm like, what am I writing right now? You know, it just happens sometimes. And there's also, and I just feel like I just gotta jump in there and, like, make it perfect and, like, see what the story should really be like, and, like, share what, like, I see, you know, as these characters. So, obviously, like, I should do that, but at the same time, if I keep going at this pace, like, with this, like, it's never gonna get done. I've been working on this since sophomore year, and I'm 22 now, so I've been working on it for about 6-ish years. So, like, oh, no, wait, I've been working on this one since no, it was sophomore year. So, like, yeah, like, around 6-ish years, like, if I keep going with this, it'll never get done. But with this, I feel like it'll never be satisfied. So this is one of the instances where it's not like the light's the good option, the one you should go to, or like, ooh, maybe you should follow your temptations. It's very much a fusion for this one. But yeah, that's kind of my example, and you can see kind of like sometimes you kind of have to do both. I didn't even know exactly what would come up for this spread. I wasn't like trying to be like, oh, what helps me with my writer's block. I just wanted to see what would come up, and then again, kind of, it's something that I've been thinking of lately, so that's what came up. Because, especially of late, I've been thinking about the one character, and that poor boy. That poor boy with everything he's been through. Like, he just feels so sad, and finishing the story, or at least getting to where things are nice for once, would definitely make me and my character feel better. But yeah, I haven't gotten to that point yet. At least, like, me being happy with it, that is. But yeah, anyway, that was what I call the C.E.R. spread. Feel free to do it if anyone wants to. It's just there for anyone who wants to do it, just as long as everyone knows it's by me. But yeah, because it's by me. But anyway, like, yeah, anyone can do it for fun. It's just me sharing my spreads. And it also, in a way, get me motivated to make even more spreads, you know, because it could come a point where I don't have any spreads to film. Oh no, you know, sometimes I write down spread ideas, but then I don't actually make spreads for them. So I'm more motivated to finally sit down and actually maybe work on spreads. And I like having my own spreads, so it's all a good thing. But yeah, anyway, that was the C.E.R. spread. And I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and I'm going to log off now. Hopefully I explained that all right. I'll put down what the positions are below. But yeah, hopefully I explained that okay. But anyway, that was it from me, so I'm gonna go now.